All right. Hello, hello. I'm doing this today on a little bit of a different setup, so I appreciate you being here with me. All right. So today we are going to dive in to the understanding of the concept that your mind has no idea who you are. So, what do I mean by that? By the way, my name is Sitara. I am ranked top 5 female psychic in the US. I teach intuitive development as well as business coaching. I believe that when you combine your intuitive abilities, your intuitive awareness, your natural innate talents that exist inside of you already into what it is that you are creating in this world, you become just an unstoppable force while you're living in your purpose. So, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe. Please like this video and please feel free to engage with me during or through the comments. I read every single one and do my best to reply back as soon as I can. So, with that, my sweet loves, your mind. What is your mind? Of your whole entire presence, right? Yesterday in Rise, we talked a lot about the heart consciousness, the consciousness of the heart. Well, when people start tuning into the field of infinite possibilities, right? There's the mind. The consciousness of the mind is extraordinarily powerful. It's definitely not to be overlooked. It is extraordinarily powerful. And what we want to see and what we want to bring to the surface or bring to the light here today in this chat really has a lot more to do with the expansiveness and the infinite nature of your soul. So, I believe through being born a medium my entire life and communicating with guides, angels, parasitic entities, demons or dark beings, as well as loved ones who have passed. I spent a lot of time communicating with all different kinds of consciousnesses here in the body and outside of the body. So, I believe that our soul is infinite. I believe that our soul exists before the moment of conception, before sperm meets egg to start creating you. I believe that your consciousness already exists. I believe that your consciousness chooses your parents, the circumstances in which you come into this world. I believe that we have soul contracted agreements. I believe in karma. I believe in that what we put out into the universe delivers back to us. Also based on the law of resonance, that what you are is what you are shown or what you are delivered, what you are given by universal presence. So when we connect to that centeredness inside of our heart, that infinite space of the consciousness that has access to all universal information, within your soul, you are still infinite. Within your soul, you are still a multidimensional being. You don't come into this world and all of a sudden stop being a multidimensional being. You come into this world and you forget. We have amnesia here that pulls us out of the awareness of our own greatest consciousness, our own greatest expanded awareness. Think back to the age that your imagination died. Well, I can assure you that when you start moving and trusting in your clairvoyance again, your ability to see energy, your ability to visualize, your ability to use your imagination to co-create your reality, you will see that your imagination in a lot of ways is very much real. But it takes a lot of discernment. It takes a lot of discernment to know, is your imagination creating a story inside of yourself based on a wound of something that has happened in the past? Or are you able to use your imagination as one of the most powerful skills and tools that you have to co-create this reality to become the alchemist? So when I say that your mind has no idea who it is that you are, you can give yourself the opportunity to sit in the stillness, because I really do believe that one of the biggest shifts a human being can ever make in their life is when they become aware that their egoic consciousness, when their mind or their ego is running the show, and they make the shift, they make the turnaround to where the ego becomes a faithful and loyal support or servant to the soul's divine purpose. Meaning, the mind or the ego, of course, is there. It's a part of this, it's a part of your entire makeup. The ego is going to be making choices. The ego is going to be making decisions. The ego is going to be steering the wheel and offering protection and guidance. But now, if the ego is working off of its own volition based on woundedness, the desire to be accepted and liked, codependency of fitting in, being a good boy or a good girl, making your parents proud. Whatever the story is for you in your world, where you have been living disconnected from your internal, authentic truth. And that internal, authentic truth is in direct correlation and direct connection to your heart's consciousness, your heart-centered consciousness. This is why I've led and named my course Grow Your Soul-Centered Business. They're evoking a true drive and a true ambition from the center of our heart, from the center of our soul, from something that we want to connect to, that we want to embody, that we want to acknowledge. Then we are able to see the truth of our inner being. And that's when we start remembering. We start remembering the truth of who we are. We start remembering lifetimes that we have existed either on this planet or on other planets, on other timelines, where we can access that infinite knowledge. And that infinite knowledge gives us the conscious understanding of why it is that we came to this world, why it is that we came to this planet, why it is that we are embodied here in the place and the time, on the country, all of these circumstances and all of these things. So I love this. We have a comment that came in. Why do we forget? That's a great question. And in full transparency, I don't know the full mechanisms of why we forget. And there are a lot of children, there are a lot of beings that are born into this world not forgetting. I think Mateus de Stefano, if I'm saying his name correctly, um, he shares a lot about ancient civilizations based on his memory. I know that I have remembered my lifetimes in Atlantis. I've had memories of being on other planets. I've had memories of what we might call Lemuria. I don't know that I'm convinced that it was actually on this planet, to be honest. I've had these memories come up, but these memories have come up by breaking out of what we might call the matrix, breaking out of societal norms. Part of what I do believe, without getting too conspiracy or going too far out there with all of you, is that Earth is a very valuable planet. Earth has a lot of valuable resources and Earth has a lot of valuable human beings. life force energy that exists inside of human beings is an incredibly powerful force. And as you can see, even at the start of the Egyptian pyramids, there was slavery on this planet almost from the beginning of our own recorded history. It goes back an extraordinary amount of time. And so part of an idea that I might have as to why we forget a certain level of intelligence. It takes a certain level of like a combination of ingredients that would even evoke a remembrance in a person. And sometimes this happens partly by fate, partly by destiny. And I believe that part of this happens by means of the frequency that is on this planet. So I believe that the more light beings we have anchored in our own light bodies, the more permission it gives for other people to remember the truth of who they are and the truth of their own divinity as well. So there's a certain level of the frequency on the planet that's going to give more permission to for people, and not just permission, that the frequency itself, that's what light codes are, that's what light language is it's a frequency transmission. So the light language is, as I believe it to be, for me, it is an original language of my soul. So my soul knows this language in the same way that your soul knows how to speak your light language as well. So the light language itself is a way for us to be able to remember. Now, tell me why that's not even something that's being shared or talked about in school. Tell me why we're not taught about emotions. Tell me why we're not taught about energy. Tell me why we're not taught about consciousness. It's all here. All of this information exists, but why are we not? Why are we told to follow directions? Why are we told to stay in line? Why are we told to, and taught through college education to go into debt so we can be a good little employee and go into more debt to buy a car and go into more debt to buy a house? It's just a new form of slavery. We think we're free, but it's a new form of slavery. So we have to be wildly intelligent. And if people were fully awakened into the truth of their divinity, the truth of who they came into this world to be, we would live in a completely different world. We'd live in a completely different society. And the powers that be on this planet would not have the same amount of control that they have on us. Politics goes beyond politicians. The elite goes beyond the elite on this planet. There's a lot more going on in this world than most people want to believe or want to experience or want to acknowledge. So, for one, part of the reason why we forget is because we're numb. It's easier to be complacent, told. And so the amnesia isn't even actually a part of, when we're born. It's more also something that gets trained out of us. And this is what I mean by your mind has no idea who you are. Your mind is shaped by your environment. Your mind is shaped by your primary caregivers. Your mind is shaped by your teachers. Your mind is shaped by your assignments. Your mind is shaped by the people that are around you. Your mind is shaped in the way that your mind is your egoic identity. Your mind is how you see and how you perceive yourself. But if you have not awoken to the truth of who it is that you are, if you have not remembered these past lives, if you have not remembered why it is that you came into this world, because you did sign an agreement. You made an agreement to come into this world to do very specific things. And so if your mind is not fully present and not fully aware of what they are, your mind has no idea who you are. The way that you see yourself, your egoic identity has no idea who you are. In my life, this has been a constant unfolding. It's part of the reason I went from Samantha to Sitara. I started channeling light language in March of 2020. And if I'm being a little bit more honest about that, it happened a lot earlier. I just had no idea what was happening. And then it happened in a matter of 10 minutes, like boom. I had a full-blown fluent activation, and I could not stop speaking light language for about 3 hours. I had bliss like, the sides of my tongue were completely raw because these codes kept coming through. The next day morning, I woke up and I scribed, and I scribed, and I scribed these light codes for, like, hours. I have pages and pages and pages of scribed light codes. In that time was when the name Sitara came to me. They said, "Your name is Sitara. This is how you're known, um, intergalactically. This is your name beyond this planet." I was like, "Whoa." My periphery went way bigger. I could all of a sudden start seeing so many, ships that were around the planet in the 5th dimension and above. I could see how surrounded Earth was and is. Why do you think there's been more UFO sightings? Why do you think that, like, if you really actually start looking into it, there's been a lot of other phenomenon that's not really getting reported in the mainstream news or even on Instagram? There's algorithms that pull away the information that people don't want the majority of the population to see. So it is up to us to become our investigators, to be able to see. With the Pleiadians are close. We know our star families with the Pleiadians are close. We know that our star families with the Arcturians are close. We know that there's a lot of information intergalactically. And I oscillate. I will go big and then I'll be like, "Okay, that's enough information for me to integrate into my human mind, my human capacity." And then I'll go big and I oscillate and I come back and forth to be able to integrate because ironically so, even as a psychic, I still have a very analytical mind. I want to know things with certainty before I share them, especially before I share them on video or share them on a platform like this. I very rarely even talk about these things other than in my courses. This is why in the live courses that I lead and that I teach, we go into much deeper discussions about what's really going on in this world and what's really going on this planet that I actually don't necessarily feel comfortable talking about on these platforms because of the censorship that I personally have experienced. I had a Facebook account with over 100,000 followers taken down. I have no access to my Facebook group on Facebook with 8,000 followers, and people wanna be like, "Well, what were you posting?" I was not posting anything that would really like, nothing political, definitely nothing political. I've maybe shared one thing about I would say I don't even wanna say their names, like, how lame is this that because of the censorship that I've experienced, I don't even wanna say their name. Just very subtle or things that psychic abilities when you watch this interview. What is your clairvoyance telling you? What is your gut telling you? Are these people telling the truth? Are they like, use your discernment as you watch what's going on the political stage. It's madness. It's madness, and it's going on globally, so it's not just red and blue. It's not just the United States. So if you go beyond globally, if you go to the CDC, you go to the WHO, you go to these, you start looking, using your own psychic abilities to start looking with your eyes wide open and your heart wide open. Like, tune in with yourself and see what is it? What is your gut starting to tell you? And if you're open to receiving the information, meaning your egoic mind is open to receiving the information, then you will start to see a whole other set of information as to why do we forget? Why do we forget? Why are we blind to this debt slavery system that we're in the United States? Prison system itself, another form of slavery. Like, we like to think that slavery does not exist in this world anymore. It very much does. It just looks a little bit different. So connecting to your heart-centered awareness, your heart-centered consciousness, the consciousness that is at the core of your being, monad. The name of my brand, it means the spark of divine consciousness at the core of all living beings. That's the spark of the exact same frequency of source, creator, mother, father, God, whatever energy you see, it's all welcome here. But that absolute spark of divine consciousness that exists at the core of all living beings that is called, there's a name for it, it's called the monad. That's why we're called the Monad Society. If you enroll in my programs, you're part of the Monad Society, where we can have very in-depth conversations about what is real for you or about what is true for you. You might think you're going crazy. You're not going crazy. Your psychic abilities are coming online and you're starting to see the world clearly. So, with that, my sweet friends, I hope that this has landed with some really powerful, juicy nuggets for you to sit with, for you to see, for you to be with. And of course, if you're interested in any guided meditations that will help bring these memories online, activating your soul memory, encourage this within you. So, of course, please send me a message on Instagram, DM me either the word rise or just simply send me a message so that we can get the conversation started and we'll see what exact opportunity is right for you. And they start very affordable. I want obviously to make sure that finances aren't something that keeps people out of being able to remember the truth of their own divinity. Not to mention, I have over 400 videos here on YouTube that can help you explore the truth of your divinity by awakening to your sovereignty, awakening to yourself, awakening to the truth that is within you. This is not something that I am going to teach you. What I am here to share with you is the knowledge of how to break out of the mold, the knowledge of how to peel away the layers of everything that is not you so that you can remember who it is that you be at the core of your existence. And I can tell you right now that the way that you see yourself doesn't even represent a teeny tiny pinky nail of the all encompassing being that you are. So, with that, my friend, I adore you. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Let's go ahead and check in again tomorrow morning, right at 9 a.m. once again. And we'll do a little bit more of live readings. I want to turn Fridays into a conversation, Fridays into a discussion. So, thank you for your presence. Thank you for being here. Again, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you get the notifications when we go live here. And I will look forward to seeing you again very soon. So, as we go forth, may we integrate the healing and the lessons received with courage, self love, and compassion. Our session here is complete.